Black Power. And yes, we are fully aware and have had many of the teachings some of you who question us using the word black have had. We use it because a lot of the classifications some of you all use, whether it be Africans, Muslims, Moors, Hebrews, Rastas, we now have a lot of white folks who claim they technically can be all of that, whether it's Afrikaans, etc. But when we say black, we know we're referring to all of us wherever on this planet of the darker hue who are the most oppressed people. Also, some folks question us using C when we spell Africa rather than the K, but again, we understand your using the K, but we look at brothers and sisters on the continent who use the C. So, they're there, that's how they spell it. That's what we do. But all of this is part of us liberating and empowering ourselves. This past week, we officially named our community Africa Town. It's nothing the city has acknowledged, authorized, whatever. But in our own self-determining, we have moved forward with that. For the past couple of decades, since the 90s, we've had different elders who had similar campaigns. Some wanted to name it Little Africa. Here in LA, there was a trend of naming like Little Tokyo, different areas after where people came from, the predominant population in those areas. Some of our elders, organized a little bit around it, whether having meetings or just passing out flyers. A couple even back then was suggesting Africa Town, but more recently, our younger comrade, Dino, put that on the table. We were with it. We questioned other people were with it, so we have moved forward with that. And the center of it being Kamathi Park, formerly known as Lemert Park. But also this past week, we see the genocide most definitely has continued. We also saw a couple of other incidences where, police showed their psychopathic nature, the culture, the predatory culture of policing and sheriffs and military, whatever that oppresses the masses. And again, a lot of media, corporate media, black media is now saying, oh, this is something to get angry about again. But as we show you every week, it's an ongoing situation. So, hopefully more of you will step up. Last night, I was sharing an article that now white folks are starting to admit police, supposedly the ATF found that police and sheriffs are selling guns to people out here on the streets, some of which have been turning up at crime scenes. We've been expressing for the longest that this wave, this pattern of crime that, rises when it's convenient or rises when it's needed. Here recently, those of us who are in this coalition in areas where we stay, we have seen certain surges in killings. And we've been pointing out, but now, that the white folks are telling y'all, hopefully y'all take a little more heed to what's going on. But again, that's controlled information because they could possibly make it seem like it's just this police department or that police department or just a couple bad apples or, but more regularly, this has been an ongoing situation where the more powerful, the stronger police and bodies are the ones who control the crime that's going on. And, hopefully more of you will get serious about response teams, possibly even regular patrols, putting up more technology, cameras of your own, whatever, to help monitor what's happening so we can get more exact information on it. But again, them putting out controlled information, possibly to make you feel as though they have it back under control. One of the things they were saying in the article I shared is that they're not really investigating what's happening, but they're more so just want to educate people as to what's happening. No one's been arrested. So police are illegally selling arms that are turning up in crime scenes where people are possibly getting killed, but none of them are being held accountable. So again, they're basically telling you they are allowing themselves to create situations that benefit them, and the only way it changes is us. We were informed some people don't like us confronting police, but again, showing y'all they are the ones behind most of this craziness that's going on. They've been stalking us, trying to intimidate us more and more, but yet folks want to castrate us and don't like us during the stand up for ourselves and for each other. That thought pattern in and of itself is of more concern than someone who actually dares to protect themselves and protect ourselves. Also, we were told people don't like how we call out or expose or address the mayor. But again, here's someone who is sitting atop of all of this madness, and because he's more mild and some of you may consider charismatic, and how he goes about his politics and paying some of y'all off. So y'all don't want to lose, what Master's giving y'all, and we best to shut up and stop. No, that's not how the situation changes. And again, now that we know it's been over 300,000 at least black people eliminated from this city from the 90s till now, and even the potential growth in that, meaning a lot of the younger people who were born within that time period who would have added to those numbers were also eliminated. Um, this ain't a situation where we can continue engaging in plantation politics, which is basically what most of y'all are saying, so y'all can get y'all checked and lay back till it falls upon you. So that is impossible. Also with this gentrifying situation, again, as many of us in our coalition have come under attack these past couple months, and we have been, forced to relocate. As I was saying, a couple of us were given till the end of this month to relocate. One of our other comrades living in an RV is now dealing with this situation where they've made it illegal to sleep in your cars overnight, so he's having to relocate. Yeah, they've turned it up, but again, not just against us, because there's many people out here dealing with it. And as we look at all the ways they're keeping people from being housed, whether they don't like people with a lot of children. Some of the levels rent has risen to, most definitely is well beyond what people can afford. And then people are redirected to situations where you get housing assistance or these different programs within programs want the children to be vaccinated with these poisons. They want to break up couples. None of it is where a lot of people will be able to maintain within this city, and those who are basically relocated to certain areas, certain controlled areas where they could be more easily monitored, and other attacks will come upon them, just like we saw in the past where drugs were flooded in certain areas. That's something similar that we'll see again. They're talking about these tiny homes, these tiny houses for people. Like Brother Kevin pointed out, creating a whole new subculture, a generation or two down the line, people coming up in tiny homes, a substandard sub housing situation. As far as the prison situation, this past week, 2 black judges were murdered. And again, with their controlled information, they're trying to suggest in the first case, it was a brother who just happened to walk out in the middle of his friend or girlfriend or somebody being robbed, and where she was just shot in the leg, he was shot and murdered. And then the second situation, sister who was the first black Muslim woman judge, I believe, in New York in her position, she turns up in a lake, and the police instantly trying to say it was suicide. They didn't say anything about camera surveillance seeing her jump into the lake. They ain't say anything about having a suicide note, but they instantly throw that out there, so that instantly makes them look suspect of participating in it. But the point, yeah, blacks who are in positions of power who aren't moving forward with their agenda, they're now eliminating. Just like the sister in Florida, the attorney general, who says she's not going to move forward with the death penalty while she's in office. Now the governor there is removing her from a few of those cases, trying to turn it over to someone who will move forward with their agenda to just kill people, execute folks. So, people who don't want to ignore what's happening, again, it does not exclude you from ultimately having to deal with the consequences of that. So again, that is our position. While we're here, while we have folks who are willing, and hopefully more folks will step up, we have to deal with it. As far as the economics, we want to thank Sister Miko Lloyd of the Michael Marvitt Foundation. She donated many cases of apple juice to our food program. So we will be out here in Kamathi Park later on today, share this with the people. So we most definitely thank her. But also we talked to Sister Zoe of Zoe's Ventique, and she was expressing how she was forced out of the West Adams area by big developers, and she's relocated over to Midtown. So, again, this is someone like many others who had a business, and because the corporate agenda, the capitalist, the predatory agenda said, we want to come and take over this area. They see money, the potential of making more money in that area. They force people who are there out so they can come and have it to their benefit. So again, in resisting that type of campaign is not nice. Because again, you try to be nice about it, you still end up relocated. You still end up dead. You still end up in prison. So, unless those of you who criticize and have issue with how we go about and get out here and show us, how to be successful in those areas for all of us. Because again, not just getting a check for ourselves and where we can temporarily, because that's all a lot of you again are doing. You are just getting a temporary fix, and you foolishly think, they have some long-term plan for you, and you're not paying attention to history, where sooner or later they're going to eliminate you also, dispose of you when you're no longer needed. And as far as overall self-governance, again, us claiming Africa Town here in LA, it's not a situation we have exclusive rights to. So those of you in whatever area who are looking to move forward with renaming your community, which is a part of self-determination, most definitely. However way we can assist and help you in that, but it's not something we have to approve. It's whatever you choose to do, and it could be a whole different name that your group comes up with, but that is part of the ground basis of moving forward, identifying who we are, identifying what we want, identifying how we're going to live, and then coming up with an agenda and structure and plan to move forward in doing that. So, like I said, later on, we will be out here in Kamathi Park, breaking bread with our brothers and sisters who the LAPD and others have intensified their campaigns of terrorizing them now. Last week, just started throwing away a lot of their possessions, broke a lot of their spirits temporarily. They said whatever they couldn't hold, they just snatched up and threw away. We got there a little bit after it happened, but comrades throughout the week monitored it a little closer and said the LAPD had fell back and actually throwing people's stuff away, and more so just having to relocate it where it wouldn't be as visible or as messy. And immediately, that may be a situation that our brothers and sisters are more open to. But first and foremost is making sure we have the type of living that we need, regardless of whether those you consider our lives are worthy or whatever quality of life we should or shouldn't have, or how we should not be going about it. But that is why, we are taking control of our situation. And again, any of you who can come support us, it is most definitely needed right now. Because, like I've shared a few weeks ago, financially, some of the things we've been doing are being disrupted. But we are pushing forward regardless. So, most definitely, your support is needed. But even more so than financial contributions, your involvement. Because if y'all can come free us up in some of these things we are doing, then we can focus more on generating the resources necessary. But if those of you got resources already, most definitely that is needed. And if y'all don't want to work with us directly, then just find where you can get in. Some of you are about to get those tax returns or are getting those tax returns. So instead of buying a new $600-700 phone, look at investing and opening up your own phone shop. Um, instead of going and spending chunks of it at the nail shops, look at investing in starting your own nail shops. But now is the time to be great, y'all, and all of us are great. All power to the people.